And we are back, and what a fucking weird week. I mean, straight off the top, dropping F-bombs. Look, it's been a weird week. Woke up to the news on Sunday that the ex-president of the United States got shot while on stage at a campaign rally. Okay, that's the news, right? And Nate, you probably heard about this. I know you keep abreast to current events sometimes.
Unbelievable,
Did you happen to catch wind of this one? Yeah, just wondering.
Yeah, same. Woke up Sunday morning, phone blowing up.
Yep.
Google knew I was interested in this one.
Oh, okay. So this was not, people, friends and family texting you saying, hey, you might want to turn on the news. This is just the apps you're signed up to are just pounding you.
Yeah, well, I'm on Truth Social, so.
Oh, right, of course. So you get some Truth Social posts.
No, but I think just the news ones like the BBC, etc.
Yeah, when I woke up, it was kind of confusing because I immediately wanted to see video of the event. Obviously, I wanted to see how this can happen.
Oh yeah.
And people who had heard that there was a shooting at the Trump rally didn't even know he got clipped. People were going, yeah, he got shot at. And I was like, no, he didn't get shot at. He got clipped. He got clipped in the ear.
People at the Trump rally?
No. People I spoke to the next day, you catch up.
People didn't know he got shot.
I heard there was a shooting at the Trump rally, but I didn't know he got shot. And
Did they not watch the video?
I guess not.
The photos of him with blood on his face.
But if someone said,
fist in the sky.
If someone said shooting in America, first of all, that's not surprising to hear in Australia. There's been a shooting in America. That isn't surprising for when we hear those words.
Unfortunately not. But at a presidential rally, especially for this Republican candidate. Now, I know a lot of people like to put MAGA supporters in one basket, but I can guarantee that most of the people who hate on the MAGA people were pretty sure that if there was going to be a shooter, it'd be one of them. It's not going to be someone who's shooting at Donald Trump. No way. That doesn't make any sense to me. So if it's a crazy person, put in brackets there, if it's a crazy person, and a 20-year-old person shooting at an 80-year-old bloke, I just can't see the transaction of life making any sense for anybody involved. Anyway, it was crazy. A couple of points that I saw the footage. Number one, you are trained when you become president or something like this to how to behave with your security team. Your security team are there to keep you safe. They're going to catch bullets for you, okay? That's their job. They're going to catch bullets for you, right? That's their job. At the same time, it's not their job to facilitate you having a campaign moment, right? Meaning, they're on the ground with him. They've got him down. The Secret Service are holding Donald Trump down because there's still shots going off. Pop, 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 pop. Lots of pops. Probably 11, 12 pops. Now, that's return fire. That's the shooter. He's shooting shots off. Meanwhile, a bloke behind Donald Trump in the first row or whatever has been killed. He's been shot in the head. He's dead. Donald Trump's putting his fist up, having a campaign moment. Nah, mate, you got shot at and someone has died, including the gunman has died. People are dead. Okay, I'm sure
now,
his
Okay,
I'm sure his security personnel will go, Mr. President, please keep your head down.
Well, here's the deal.
You're inviting shots.
On some of the replays that I saw, you could hear a lot of the words from the Secret Service people. Now, they're panicking because they barely have to do their job, but here it is. The moment
it's an
happened.
Intense moment.
The moment happened. The bit where the Secret Service was invented for. This is what it's for, right? So they're on the stage. They've got him down. They're holding him down. They're saying, we're staying here till we get confirmation that the shooter is down. We're staying here. Staying. A bit like cricket. Wait. They're waiting. And then they get the confirmation. They go, okay, shooter's down. We got to move. Okay, now, because step one is wait for the shooter down to be confirmed down. Step two is whatever the next thing in the training book says, which is get the fuck out of there, usually. isn't it?
I would have thought so.
So he's standing up going, let me
Okay.
put my shoes on, let me put my shoes on, let me put my shoes on. His shoe's fallen off. He will be forever known as the man who lost his shoe. You know, it's a bit of biblical prophecy if I have to jog your memory there.
Oh, yeah, last
The
week.
man who
yeah.
lost his shoe. So
Yeah.
no one spat in his face, but the shoe was lost. Anyway, he's going, get my shoe. I want to get my shoe back on. Then he puts his fist up in defiance, that photograph that now is world famous, that'll win awards and shit.
He capitalized on the moment.
He capitalized on the moment, absolutely. And this is the big point I wanted to make.
The American flag was perfectly in the background as well.
I don't know. I heard that was photoshopped, but that's unconfirmed. The job of the Secret Service is not to facilitate your campaign moment. That's my big point. Their job is to get you out of there, that situation, that unsafe situation. They don't want to die for you. They don't want to have to die for you. If the option is get you to the car or take a bullet for you, they want to go with option A, because that's what step 2 is in the book. After situation under control, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, I just rabbited on for a long time, had to get a lot of thoughts out there about this. What did you think?
That's fine. I have a few comments. So do you know, you mentioned return shots. Did some of his security personnel return fire in that moment? I wouldn't have thought they even know where the shooter was.
No, their job is not to return fire. Their job is to secure the asset.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't
Trump.
know. I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I saw some clips, but I thought, geez, that's pretty switched on if they started shooting back like immediately.
No. So lots of footage obviously has come out from the event being something that was held in public. It's a Donald Trump rally. It's going to be heavily covered, not just by the news, but by people and their phones and all that sort of jam. So there's a lot of footage out there. Now, some of the footage actually shows the snipers, the Secret Service snipers, who are actually positioned on Donald Trump's left and right behind him. They're looking out into the crowd, right?
Yep.
Now,
that's
they're
an intense
the ones
moment as well.
who are returning fire. They're returning fire with fucking big ass.
So
military.
they actually shooting back at that point.
Yeah, they shot him. They killed the guy.
I know they killed him. I thought it was a little bit afterwards.
So it'd be interesting to know, and of course it's a fucking tragedy and a joke that this is a jam, that this is something we're talking about, but it'd be interesting to know how many shots were actually from his AR-15 and how many were from the return fire, because these guys are obviously highly trained, they're probably the best in their field, but they've probably never actually had to do anything. Now is the day that's happened.
Probably never fired a shot in the heat of the moment.
No. And they looked like... And
America fights enough wars. I'm sure they've been involved in something.
Going off just the video footage, they look shocked when it happens. They, their heads go, fuck, like, oh my God, we got to get into kill mode here. And so they killed the guy, obviously. And so we'll struggle to know, because they didn't arrest him, obviously, and take him in alive, we're going to struggle to know his full sort of ideas and why he did it. Usually, people like, people who do this kind of stuff have already sort of written something up somewhere, might be at home somewhere.
I haven't worried too much about the backstory of this bloke yet.
Obviously. Well, I can tell you he's a 20-year-old kid, with a gun. And he lived about,
maybe if Trump had a gun, right? Maybe I think they need to throw small guns in that situation. I'm pretty sure,
I think that's what they would say. But I think I've made this point in the past. I made it in regards to the Queen's funeral and the King's coronation, is that when you have a big public event like that with important people who could be the target of these kinds of attempts, you need to put security in place. Okay, and security could be engaging the military, police, local police. I'm talking about for England, to get the Queen. You got the Queen, funeral or something. You're going to have heads of state from every country in the world. So therefore you need heavy security. Now, my point's always been like, well, the obvious answer is just put a bunch of guns out there, isn't it? You pop a gun on all the corners of all the buildings, snipers, and they're just watching the whole procession. And if anyone pops off, they've got them. Like, don't worry about it. And you'll have people on the ground who are monitoring the audience and the crowd and making sure that it's
safe where they are. Maybe they've got people stationed everywhere, just being like, yeah, everything's cool here. Everything seems to be normal. But I think there's a tipping point of where the amount of guns becomes a liability, a big liability. Because if you go, well, how many guns do we need to protect every heads of state for the Queen's funeral? Do we need 200 snipers? Do we need 300 snipers? Do we need 500 snipers, right? And the problem is, right, as soon as you go, well, last time we used 300 snipers, and how safe was that? It was pretty safe, but this one's going to have slightly more people at the event, so we might need to double it. Now I think you've tipped that point where it's like all you need is one bloke to have a bad day, and I made this point before, a really bad day, and he's got access to a lethal weapon and scores of many. So I think there's a tipping point with safety in guns, but at something like this in America, obviously you need a couple of Secret Service trained snipers hanging around. That's just how it rolls. But I've been to public events in Australia, never seen a gun.
No, barely. I've barely seen a gun.
I mean, I'm surprised when UK cops don't have guns. You know this, right? They don't have pistols. Mm-hmm. Australian police have pistols. They got guns. So we see guns on the hips of police officers quite regularly. That's normal. It would be weird to see a police officer in Australia who didn't have a gun. But so we do see them, but I've never seen one at an event. I've never seen one out of a holster. I've never.
What is something that is, I guess, a little bit disappointing?
Disappointing.
It's a bit sad for the United States. Is that a lot of people I talk to after it happened were not surprised that Trump has been subject to an assassination attempt.
Of course.
The fact that I agree as well. You almost feel like this moment's coming. You're surprised it hasn't happened already. That is terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah, and why is he doing it then? If he knew 8 years ago that people are going to make attempts on his life, and he's a billionaire and he could just be chilling out somewhere, what's he doing? What is he doing?
Oh, he's passionate about the country.
Okay.
This is why it's an explanation. My first thought when I saw the article was, I need to see this footage right now because there's every chance that he just put it on. Because it's so perfect for his campaign that I had to see what went down.
Well, it's obviously going to help him.
Perfect. Can you imagine the Biden PR campaign? How spewing they would be? They'll be like, "What?"
I'd be really upset if anyone
Subject to an
says
assassination.
that, like, God saved Trump because, your God saved Trump, but it didn't save the bloke in the first row who had his head blown off. So where was God for that bloke?
Yeah, I know.
What, you think God's so good that he just would clip
he's
the
the
ear?
chosen one.
No,
He's
just
the
listen. Just
chosen
listen. That it would just clip the ear. Like if it was God's chosen one, it would have just bounced off him. You know what I'm saying? He bled blood from his ear from a gunshot wound. There's no miracle here. This is a joke.
Mate, right? This is a Samuel L. Jackson Pulp Fiction divine intervention from the Lord himself moment. I don't know how you're disputing this. He's the chosen one. This is, you mentioned biblical prophecy before. This is playing right into the Bible bashers.
Yeah, no. Look, I'll welcome that debate. But look, every single president who has served since Ford, Nixon, Kennedy, further back, obviously Kennedy with a way different outcome, have had attempts on their lives. Every single president. Every single one. While in office.
That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy. But you would imagine that with the political discourse in America and the vitriol, that people would get pretty upset and angry enough to go crazy. So look.
Well, you only need one, like you were saying.
And like you were saying, surprised that hasn't happened yet. Like that's a crazy thing. I'm really glad that for the most part, I haven't heard many people say like, "Oh, wish it got him." I'm glad I haven't heard much of that because that's not helpful. So the guy dies, then what? Great.
Mate,
so
could
he's
you
dead.
imagine? That would
Great.
be the tipping point for a lot of civil unrest.
Absolutely.
I mean, they were already
because if people,
at the
if
end
people
of their
were
tether.
celebrating it, yeah, absolutely. It's not good. They're already sad boys.
1 inch away.
Biden called for a dropping in the temperature of the political discourse in the country, if you like, especially surrounding this. A bit of a unifying moment of him saying, look, we're all Americans. We're not enemies. We're neighbors with differing opinions, like, on other sides of the aisle, but we're not. We're still all Americans. He gave a bit of a unifying cry, which he has to. And he could never say, unlucky on the shot, kid. He could never say something dumb like that. I mean, Trump might say something dumb like that, but Biden wouldn't say something dumb like that.
Trump,
Anyway.
I don't think, would even say that if the shoe was on the other foot.
Oh, no,
I
chance.
don't even think.
No
way.
chance.
No way.
No chance. It's a public. He can feel it. He could feel it in his bones, but he wouldn't say it.
He doesn't even
And he
need
says a
it.
lot of
He's
dumb
got him on
shit,
toast
but
anyway.
he says a lot of dumb shit, and he wouldn't say that. I think that's a telling thing. So
I don't know how you're letting this go. That this isn't some kind of reward for Trump's faith and spreading the word of God. There'll be so many people that will be on that.
I think a lot of people are pretty upset with Trump because he released a Bible. Have you heard of, the Trump Bible?
No, the Trump
he made a
version
Trump
of the Bible.
and it's got a copy of the American Constitution as the first few pages. Now, I don't know about you, and I don't know where in the Declaration of Independence that it actually mentions the separation of church and state. But if it's on the first page, not a good start, is it? It's not a good start. Not meant to have separation of church and state. Here's the Declaration of Independence in the Trump Bible. Okay. Anyway, he's probably selling a lot of copies to fund the campaigns and legal battles.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually just so perfect for Trump. It's amazing. He couldn't have scripted it any better. He went off the stage. People were, and he's swinging his hand. They're chanting USA, USA.
No, he said fight.
Did he?
Fight with his fist pump. That's what it looks like he says. I'm lip reading. And then he's getting fucking taken away, thrown into the thing. And you know what's fucking annoying? Just to sort of further my point from earlier, when he's being pushed into the car, like they're in the final stage of getting him the fuck out of there, he's still putting his hands out. Bro, it's not their job to die for you. I'm sorry. It's not their job to die.
I did think about that. Keep your head down
so
you're not presenting a target. Because this guy's obviously not a great shot. He's missed already. But I do have a little bit of a problem. I know that he put his hand up and you were saying, why you kind of celebrating in a way because someone's died. He didn't know that at the time.
Obviously, he didn't know that at the time.
But
someone was shooting in a crowded place.
Exactly.
So it's not exactly a cool moment. It's not the end of Cool Runnings. You didn't win a gold medal or anything. Nothing good happened. Stop it. All that happened is people died. At least one. We know that. He knew that guy died. 100%. Because he was there he was there on the ground when they said, we got the shooter down. He knew. So what's this? What's this? What's the celebration?
I didn't realize they killed the guy so quickly. I thought it was after he left in the car.
No.
Was it immediate, was it?
It's blam.
Yeah, okay. I haven't really looked into it too much, to tell the truth.
Okay, I don't understand how. I don't know what you've been reading in the past 24 hours that could be more important, and it might be something you're going to go into now, but what could be possibly more worthy of your brain space than the craziest thing I've ever seen on live television in 20 years?
Yeah, I think I just want to, I don't know, there was so much going on at the time. I had to dig down into the article just to find someone died. Because I assumed being such a crowded place, I was like, surely someone's injured in this. You had to go down like a number of levels through the article to find out that there were injuries.
One of the people that they interviewed, an eyewitness, he was sitting next to the bloke and they're talking to him. He's tearing up. Bloke's dead next to me. It's fucking nuts, dude. But fist pumps, obviously. Can this election hurry the fuck up? Basically, I'm done. I'm so done with the anger and the hatred and the it's just
one guy. one guy ruining it for everyone.
And it's very confusing, the information that's come out about the kid, the 20-year-old, because a lot of news places have been reporting like these two factoids in sequence. Something like he was a Republican or is a Republican member, or was a Republican member of the party, and he's also donated $15 to a Democratic thing. So he's a Republican Party member who's donated $15 to the other blokes. I don't know how it works.
No.
I don't know what that means either. Like, he might be a Republican who hates Donald Trump. You know, there are those out there that do hate this guy with a passion.
This guy's got a foot in both camps.
Can you name can you name a person who's like hated with very little information? I mean, we know heaps about Donald Trump, so there's a lot of reasons to hate him. He said a lot of hateful things. I'm trying to think of, because hatred is an emotion that I have reserved for very few.
Yeah.
I can hate a character in a movie a lot easier than I could hate a person.
Who are you hating on now?
I'm just saying, I have this opinion that if you sat down and spoke to pretty much anyone, you wouldn't hate them anymore. Like, if you listed everyone you hated and had a chat to them,
I don't even hate anyone. Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's a heavy emotion that is reserved for very few people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know where I was going.
I get into people sometimes. I've got no problem really with anyone, to tell you the truth. Like, it's just, I think it's fun sometimes to hate on people. You know, I think other people, and sometimes people it resonates with them more as well when you're negative about people. If you're just happy and positive about everything, I think people
like having a villain to point at and go, he's
like
the
an
villain.
Opinion. Everyone likes having an opinion and be right.
I don't know if those two things that's are mutually
ego.
Exclusive.
It's like I think people's egos. People want to be right.
So that happened.
Yeah. And one reason why I wanted the dust to settle a little bit, I haven't read about it too much. I mean, I saw the video. I've got the gist of what's happened, but I don't have a timeline of exactly what went down when. I haven't read about this guy because there's so much information. And I don't even know what's right and wrong. You know, early days, people can be saying whatever. I
wouldn't pay attention to anything in the first 24 hours. Yeah.
I was just like, I'm just going to wait for it to settle a little bit. I don't need to know.
I think pay attention is the wrong word. You can read all that shit, but just know that that's sort of a very malleable, it's a very malleable piece of news right now.
It's a deluge of
It will change with facts, and there's an investigation underway. So we will learn more in the future because the public will demand to know more because it's in the public interest. So
the first things I saw were videos of a guy crawling on a roof from someone's camera phone, and you saw him for about 1 second, and I thought, this is just I don't need to be watching. This is the worst quality information I'm receiving right now. It's in the moment.
I mean, you say that, but it's actually pretty incredible that you can see a video from an event that took place on the other side of the world, right? Yeah. So I was thinking about this the other day because, like, we can text each other. You and I text each other. You know, you texted me today. Hey, man, 7. I think it was just the number 7 ? And I said something like to the effect of no worries, right? I'm just imagining 18th century ships passing continents overnight into the days and months to get to their destination to deliver a letter. Now, obviously the letters back then weren't 7 ? You know, it would have been to my dear Matthew, you know, whatever it is.
At least have a date on it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and it would be quite lengthy, and there'll be sort of points to reply to, and you have to there's a lot of information going to go back on this letter because it's getting on a boat, yeah? Whereas we're so flippant with information because and communication because the technology allows us to do it at such a speed that it's kind of irrelevant how much or how little information we give or receive at any one time. So I'm not surprised that in these moments you're going to get a video that could be any shed anywhere in the world with a bloke laying down on it and you go, look, the internet has led me to believe that this is the man.
I agree. We shouldn't pay too much attention to the stuff in the first 48 hours or so, 24 hours, 48 hours more.
And what
if you want to wait for the
annoyed me the
investigation.
most is as soon as I got up, it was about 15 minutes old, and it was a BBC article about this, and there was a video of Trump at the rally, which was great. It was 2.5 minutes. You saw
The lead
him
up.
get shot at, get into the car, everything.
You said it was great just then. I know what you're saying. It was the
captured
best
the moment.
video I've
It
seen.
captured the moment.
This is hilarious.
No, and
just
the reason
words
why
you're using are hilarious.
The reason why it was so good is
no, you keep doing it. Yep, go on.
Yeah. Is my wife's parents came over, and I was like, hey, this was a bit later on in the morning, and they'd heard of it, but they hadn't seen the video.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, you got to see it, you got to check it out. He's bleeding from the face, fist in the sky, that whole thing. And then I'm trying to find just the video I was looking at before. I just typed in, Trump assassination into YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was getting, the first one was this, like,
getting
everyone's a
clickbait
media
news.
organization.
Yeah.
There's slow motions. It's just not the whole thing. I'm like, look, just give me the raw.
Give me
whatever.
Yeah.
Just give me everyone wants to have their little augment it in a way, and it was just,
they want to claim it, right? So you can imagine that the company or whatever that had the main broadcast of that is just pulling down videos on YouTube left, right, and center because it's like that's our shit.
Yeah.
So that would be a thing. The actual broadcast. I mean, the news broadcasts and stuff, they all exist, and that's where I saw it.
Yeah.
But I think there would be a reason for them to take down videos like that, because when the Secret Service have him on the ground, they're talking a bit of tactics. I mean, it's just stay down until we know when to move. But it is sort of their internal...
giving away the playbook a little bit, you reckon?
Yeah, it's their internal workings a bit being on display. So I can imagine that they would be like, a bit of protection of IP or whatever. Just being like...
They've realised that the president gets to do whatever he wants in that situation. They're like, President, keep your head down.
I know, I want my shoe.
I had that thought as well. When I watched this, I thought, man, what is he doing? He needs to stay down.
Well, he did get down. He didn't get up until they lifted him up, but he didn't immediately move with them when they're like, bro, it's move time. It's go time.
And also, you can't be sure that there
early knockoff.
You can't be sure there's not a second shooter.
Exactly.
Like someone else.
There
could be someone else
danger.
that goes, I'm going to stay near, I'm going to be near the getaway in case he doesn't finish him off. I'll get him on the way out. So what's happened
this is obviously what's happened, is they've taken him down, Trump, after the event, and they've said they're on the ground with him, and they're like, look, we're just waiting for confirmation that they've taken care of the guy, okay? Just give us 2 seconds, bro. 2 seconds. We're just down here for a little bit. So forget about all the panicked, stay down, all that stuff. It's just one guy talking to him going, bro, it's okay. We're just waiting for confirmation. Everything's fine. And then they go, we've had confirmation that he's down. Now, we've also done a really good scan of the area and there is no more threats around. So we are going to take you to the car right now as a precaution, but feel free to just sort of mess around and definitely pick that shoe up. Yeah, grab that. We'll put that back on. All right, let's stand up. All right, get your fist up. You fucking did it, bro. Put your fist up. Like all this shit.
Coaching him. There was probably his PR manager.
He doesn't have
ear.
a PR manager, bro. That PR manager would be just a wreck of a person all the time.
Biden's PR manager, though. I was thinking about from Biden's point of view.
Yeah.
They would be spewing about this situation.
Oh,
when it's getting fed to them, they would be spewing.
Oh, come on.
They'll be like, fuck, firstly, he lived. Geez, he's running for president, an assassination survivor. They'll be like, he was bleeding from the head on national TV. Oh,
yeah,
God,
and if this was like the era of knights and dames and shit, he would have got a title with this. It would have been like Trump the Bullet Dodger or something. Bullet Dodger. And, I still don't like using Bullet Dodger because I need to acknowledge again that someone did die in the background. So we need to just say, obviously, it's all fucked up. Chuck that back on the table. Okay, in other news, we're done with that. Let's just put that to bed for now. Simo left the Eagles,
sure we'll come back.
Simo left the Eagles.
Yeah. Do you know what? I forgot about that. Completely.
I wanted to put it back on the table because obviously he's been a big part of the club for 11 years. And and I speak for both of us when I say this, love him.
Don't speak for me.
Oh, come on. He got you a premiership. I know you were happy that day.
I love him. Want to hug him.
Yeah.
Want to buff him.
We love all of our premiership coaches equally. Maybe not equally, but we do love them all.
We do. And those non-premiership fuckheads.
There's only a couple. And they got unlucky probably and didn't get the 11 years stint that Simo, Worsfold and Malthouse got at the Eagles, which allowed them to have
good dynasties, let's say. Okay.
I do. We do. You're right.
So they sacked him. And then at the press conference said, do you want to coach on Sunday as a bit of a send-off at Optus Stadium? And he declined, which is totally understandable.
Yeah. So they offered it to him, did they?
They offered him the... Yeah, Don Pike offered it to him at the press conference where they sacked him.
I know.
It is a bit awkward, yeah. He kind of said, don't really know yet. We'll let you know, kind of thing. I sort of knew it was a no then. So you know what they did for him, for Simo? Because he's been such a legend of the club, been around for 11 years, got a premiership, took the boys through some hard years. It's not his fault, man, that we're doing shit. They got him to toss the coin. Isn't that just lovely? They also
gave him a microphone, but yeah, they let him toss the coin. I saw that.
Oh, did he talk on the mic?
Yeah,
I missed the start of the game.
He did have a quick chat on the mic before
and it would have been
tossed
received
the coin.
well. It would have been received well.
Yes.
People love him.
Yeah. He mentioned 2018. Everyone gave him a raucous round of applause, as they should. He got a lot of love. So you went to the game?
No. I didn't. I missed the start of the game on TV.
Right. Yeah, we love him.
We do.
Mm.
And
didn't they just extend his contract not that long ago? Didn't they?
Not really.
Because when did his contract expire?
He's been on like a year-by-year thing. I thought
they controversially, maybe they just do it to quell the
speculation. They gave him a free pass for the COVID-19 year. Like for 2020 season, they pretty much said free pass, Simo, no problem. Like, don't sweat it. So he's really only had 2 shit years.
Yeah, he was contracted to the end of 2025.
Yeah, so they're going to pay him for that. That's cash money.
I'm pretty sure they renewed it they gave him a 2-year deal recently because, it wasn't, he didn't have a 3-year deal
we'd have to look that up. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, neither.
It's weird because the conversations have felt like this whole year, and correct me if I'm wrong, the conversation has felt in the AFL sphere that he's pretty much going to leave at the end of the year anyway. Like, we're going to fire him. It's not when. It is when, not if. So the fact that he's contracted to the end of the 2025 season is a bit surprising, given that the discourse around WA for the last 12 months has been, it's probably his last season.
Yeah.
Anyway, pay the man. All good. And who do you want now that legend has left? Who's your number one picks for new coach?
It's interesting. I'm not an expert on coaches at all.
You're not?
But it's...
Oh, good.
No. So I'm not the guy to talk to, but I hear obviously Dean Cox is in the mix.
The name's getting thrown around, Dean Cox, premiership hero for the Eagles, assistant coach at the Swans for a very long time under Longmuir. Could be Longmuir in waiting, could be a Swans coach in waiting. Does he want to come back west? It makes a lot of sense. Does he want to come back west?
I mean, Longmuir's not going anywhere, isn't he?
Is he? Because his team keeps winning.
This is what you do. You make your name. You do your apprenticeship somewhere else under an excellent coach, and it makes so much sense for him to come back west. Surely he's got friends and family here.
That'd be great.
I heard he's a bit of a dick. I don't know.
I heard he loves Sydney. I heard he loves Sydney.
Yeah. Okay.
And Simo, he has made points. I've heard him in interviews. I've heard a lot of him talking in the last couple of weeks. And he's mentioned that because when he came here, it was 11 years ago, and that his kids kind of grew up in Perth, he's kind of a Perthian now. Like he's fully adopted the place, and all his friends are here now, and that's kind of like his place now. He loves it.
Oh, nice. So he's staying on.
And we love that. We love that as West Australians. We love it when someone, hangs around. We love that.
Let's get all the Victorians here.
Yeah, so we need Coxie back. That's number one. Obviously, the current coach of the Eagles, who was the assistant coach, one of the midfield coaches, Jared Scofield. My little brother was giving me the rundown on him. He actually rates him.
What is his rundown? Really?
Dude, he's like, he's a premiership player. He's coached premierships, and he's assistant coached premierships. So on paper, fantastic. Great. So do you just give it to him? I don't know.
Yeah, right. So how many games did he play? So he played 127 games. Yeah, West Coast, Port and Freo. That's right.
Yep,
I thought
so-
he was one of those guys that played for both West Coast and Freo.
Wow, there's not many
of them.
are there? No, there wouldn't be.
Daniel Metropolis comes to mind.
Wow, I haven't heard that name in years. Tell me, is there any more?
That's the only one I know of.
That's the only one.
There's
I
a
can
couple.
think. Yeah, wow. Okay, so he has, so his coaching career, Port Adelaide assistant coach. So he was assistant coach at Port Adelaide for 2 years, and then got the role at the Eagles, in the role of strategy and stoppage coach. Is that the main one? Is it? Is that who gets promoted?
Strategy.
The mid, like, you know, that sort of coach gets promoted, not the other assistant coaches.
At least in this case.
Yeah, there you go. So no, it doesn't say a lot about his local coaching career.
Sorry, he played 206 games, 127 goals. That's a pretty decent career. I mean, 200 plus.
Yeah, so he played in Port
Will
Adelaide's kind of
Scofield.
golden era.
Yeah.
And he sort of managed to catch a premiership at the Eagles too, which is pretty funny.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So he got 94.
But it doesn't say he was in the premiership side for the Eagles 94 game. It says premiership side for 2004's Port Adelaide game, but he wasn't in the squad for the 94 grand final by the looks of things.
He was traded to Port Adelaide at the end of 98 for Scott Cummings, the meat pie himself.
Wow. Kicked a bag of goals. He kicked a lot of goals, Scott Cummings. So I made that up about Subi before. He made his debut for Subi in the Waffle in 1993 and played over 100 games for them until his retirement in 2008. He was a member of 3 Waffle grand final winning sides, 2006, 2007, 2008.
And 3 Subiaco, yeah. He's got 2 three-peats.
As coach, yeah. So that's massive creds,
let's go with him. I knew
Are you
he
sure?
played.
Yeah,
let's stick with him.
Okay.
The other one is apparently one of my mates at work mentioned Nathan Buckley's in the picture. I hadn't heard this before.
I heard Hinkley's in the picture.
Oh, we can't have Hinkley. He's got the record for the most games coached without achieving a grand final berth.
Oh,
he has the
really?
record.
Oh, that's not a good record, is it?
Yeah. That's
You know
not what
who
you
I'd
want.
like to see back? Woosha or Malthouse. Get him back. Get him back.
Malthouse is a bit kooky. He's a bit
I
kooky
love him.
now.
I love him.
Yeah. We love all our premiership coaches.
We
Remember?
love him.
You said it yourself.
Yeah.
We love him.
Yeah.
So that's the first I'd heard of Buckley, just one guy at work mentioning it. Then I get a Google update on my phone saying Nathan Buckley has given a hint that he may return to coaching just today.
Yes, but that could be Tasmania too.
It could be, but I'm concerned because I don't really want Buckley. I mean, he coached against us in the 2018 grand final.
Yeah, they'd be pretty sore about that.
It's a bit weird. And what I'm worried about
You say
is,
that, but I've seen that documentary a billion times and he looked pretty good after the game in terms of how he was coping with the loss, and he was coaching his son through coping with the loss because his son's bawling his eyes out and he's like, mate, you weren't even playing. Shut up. No, that's not what he said. He said, come on, mate, like, we're okay. Like, we're alive. Like, what's wrong? You know? Still alive. Anyway, that was kind of his point. I don't know if that's a good fallback to just say, hey, just check your pulse. Are you still breathing? And you're like, yeah, I'm still here. And they're like, well, shut up then. Get in the car.
what my concern is that this is all an elaborate plan by Buckley to come back and destroy the club that beat him, humiliated him in the 2018 grand final.
This is where your brain goes.
I think there's a real possibility that after the grand final, he thought,
He started scheming.
how am I going to ruin this club?
Okay.
I'm going to retire from coaching. I'm going to wait until the time's right. I'm going to return. I'm going to come back. I was a massive player. I was a pretty decent coach. Did he get a premiership?
I mean, I think so.
Or was that the one that got away?
No, he didn't.
Oh, so he came that close. Oh, Sheed. That's dirty. You can't do a man like that. I actually really liked Buckley in his playing days. He was a great player.
Well, no, I think it is a really sore point. I don't think he's a premiership player.
Oh, no, he's not a premiership player.
Yeah, no, but he's
Is
a
he-
Norm
is he-
Smith medalist.
He did win a Norm Smith in a losing grand final.
Ouch.
And he hasn't coached a premiership either, has he? Is that
No.
right? Oh, my God. See, now he's a failure. He's a failed human being, is what I'm saying.
Whoa. Easy there.
We want
this
loser?
This is so funny. The pinnacle of the sport is to be celebrated. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not a premiership player, don't care, basically. You're talking about a Brownlow medalist, a Norm Smith medalist, an AFLCA Player of the Year, a 7-time All-Australian.
Is he a two-time Brownlow, or is he just one time?
One time.
One time.
He was the Rising Star in 1993, Herald Sun Player of the Year, Australian Football League Life Member, and Australian Football Hall of Fame inductee.
And how many premierships does he have?
Same amount as Freo, which is, Buckley's.
Man, do you reckon Mr. Duckhead himself looks at Marlon Pickett and he comes in, he debuts in a grand final?
Oh,
do you reckon he just looks at this guy and goes, mate, I've had a full career of playing, coaching at the highest level. I've been the best in the game. I've done everything.
You've literally
come
played
along,
one game.
You come out of jail, straight into the team, one game. He nearly won the Norm Smith as well. Marlon Pickett was really second. Well. I think he was second in the voting that day.
Second or third, yeah.
Pretty
crazy success story, a good feel-good moment, I guess. It was really nice. And he played super good. So you don't like Buckley. You like Coxie?
Actually, I loved Buckley as a player. One reason why I don't like him is he was just coaching against the Eagles in that grand final.
Of course. We have a big rivalry with Collingwood.
I had to hate on him at that moment.
Absolutely.
But no, he's a great guy. And I actually quite like his commentary and stuff, that not in-game commentary.
You're like talking about his analysis
and stuff like that. Yeah,
he is good. And he's very smart. He's obviously a very smart footballer.
I like people that have, he's obviously super educated in football coaching and what's going on.
And might I add, pretty scary head.
Oh, it's a big head, big, strong jaw.
No, but just scary. Like, I wouldn't want to come across him in a dark alley or any alley.
He's a bit of an ogre in a way, isn't it? What is it? What is it about his face? Or
he's got that very strong Australian face, if you know what I'm saying. It's he's got a permanent scowl as well. He's got a bit of a thing going, and I don't hate it. I'm just it's just very I don't know what the word is. It's like hard Australian.
Yeah, face. It looks like he's ran into a couple of brick walls.
It does, and one,
straight through them. Yeah, he's hard as nails. He is hard as nails.
Yeah.
Did you? I know.
Oh man! So we were watching Tito Ortiz, the heavily concussed and brain hurt Tito Ortiz, try to just talk words recently.
Oh no!
And one of the words he said was, "I just got to keep my nose to the clean stone. The clean stone. Ooh, nose to the clean stone."
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
What does that mean?
He's a fucking genius. CTE is a lie. Let's get some head knocks. We'll get really creative. That's super creative.
Stone. Yeah,
nose to the clean stone. It doesn't make any sense.
But
you know what
thinking.
He's saying.
Yeah,
but you know what he's saying as well.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of language. We don't have to use words that we all understand. We can just cue each other with reworkings of phrases. Anyway, that was just a Tito CTE
I do that
moment.
a lot. I got some CTE. And speaking of CTE, Biden, did you see he was at a NATO summit and he was introducing
Zelensky?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the strongest man
the strongest man in Europe right now. He says something like, he goes, "The man who's standing against these people and blah, blah, blah. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President Putin." Oh, right when he's at this point where people are really taking a close look at him for his mental acuity, he's had this major brain fade, And then he tried to. Did you see him try to backtrack it a little bit? Try to save it.
Yeah. He was like,
"Oh,
I've just got President Putin
oh,
on
let's
my
talk
mind.
about Putin all the time.
We gotta get him. We gotta get him.
Of course, it's Zelensky. I spent a lot of time thinking about it. We're gonna get him. And I went Trump there. Get him. So
I think it was a decent recovery.
Yeah. Well, it was the recovery that we all knew was. We knew the reason why he fucked it up. We know the reason he fucked it up.
He's
it's
a human
not just
being.
because he's an old senile dude.
he
It's
can make
because he
mistakes.
fucked up, and people do that.
Yeah.
That's fine. He could have just said, "Excuse me, Mr. President Zelensky. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." That would have been enough. We all know, Joe. It's okay. You don't have to pick up all of your pieces off the floor and explain everything. We get it.
I
dude.
like
It's
the
cool.
explanation.
I
Because
thought
it was quick.
I thought it was a bit much.
And it was
he-
unscripted. It was
Sure.
him. Yeah. And he gets recorded so much. He's going to make some gaffes.
Absolutely.
That's a big one. That's a big
gaff.
one, though. Yeah, like you're saying, when is there so much
It's
scrutiny over
a
his?
bad one.
It's a bad one. That's a really bad one.
He also introduced. He was talking about Kamala Harris, and he called her Vice President Trump.
What?
He called Kamala Harris Vice President Trump.
Oh my god! I didn't hear about that one. That's
It's a new direction for the Democratic Party, having Donald Trump run as vice president alongside Joe Biden. But I think it could work. I think we could be on a pathway to peace here. And there should be peace because America, as I know it, are not at war with anyone or themselves. So let's figure this out. Let's get everyone on the same team. Let the Republicans throw up a candidate. I guarantee you the dynamic duo of Joe Biden and Donald Trump on the campaign trail together will defeat any Republican candidate they can possibly muster. So, Joe, it's time to make the call to Don. Say, Soz, do you want to run with me? Let's go.
one party.
165 years of experience, 2 men, 1 idea.
Let's just go full one world government right now. Let's just go one party.
Yeah, we'll give Albo a call and we'll sort it out. Like we'll get them talking.
The ticket.
Yeah. Let's go.
Hey, so what happens other than the civil unrest that the US would experience? Let's just say they get through that and democracy rolls on. As it always does. Sure. What happened if Trump was assassinated? What happens? Who's the Republican nominee? Does Biden continue to run? Because, I think they're only running Biden because he's Trump's kryptonite.
Well, that's the reason he says he's running, is because he's the only one who can beat Trump. He's a bit like the chosen one. Even though maybe in the first presidential campaign, I think they asked him, he was like, is there anyone else in the Democratic Party who could beat Donald Trump in an election? And he said, yeah, about 50 of them, which has aged like milk. Because now he's saying he's the only man for the job. But he said before that 50 of his Democratic candidates, friends, colleagues, contemporaries, would beat Donald Trump in an election. So he's kind of shot himself in the foot in hindsight a little bit. I mean, he's right. He is the only person. I'm going to start again. He is the only person to beat Donald Trump in a general election. That's true.
He's going for 2-time.
I think he should go to retirement time. But
I know.
I'm only trying to look out for the old man. I want him to be where he should be, which is not in the Oval Office, unfortunately. I don't know if this is your dream to serve your final days in the Oval Office like some papal dude, but this is the road you're on.
This would be catastrophic, and I don't mean this in a lot of ways, but if the shoe was on the other foot and Biden was assassinated, I think the Democratic Party would be like, you've actually solved a lot of our problems.
Right. No, not really, because it
plays into the MAGA.
The 25th Amendment, though, means Kamala Harris is now the president right now.
Yeah,
and
would
also
they run with her?
You would think that she's a sitting president now, even if it's for a day. She is a sitting president running against a very unpopular candidate. I don't know what they would do. I don't think it's a good outcome if that happened to Biden, obviously, for many reasons. But I don't think that is something that they would think, oh, we've been thrown a bone here. Maybe the American people at large might think that they've been thrown a bone here, but I don't think people in the campaign would think it's a particularly good idea, a good thing.
And also, who would assassinate Biden? Because he's about 15 days away from, just
you could say the same thing about Trump
anyway.
because Trump's only like 2 or 3 years younger than Biden.
But he seems more lively, objectively.
I don't care. He eats way more Big Macs.
Yeah, it keeps him alive, man. Big Macs are good for you.
Could
Big
quite
Macs and
possibly
Diet
be
Coke.
at this point. He's turning the whole thing on its head, isn't he? He's one of those people who would look upon your lifestyle as a bit of a daredevil because I think he's the kind of person who believes that we're born with a certain amount of heartbeats.
Heart's
And
beating
he's
too
just,
fast.
your heart beating too fast, mate. Slow it down. Eat a Big Mac.
Speed
Eat a
running.
Big Mac. Have a frozen Coke and just chill the fuck out. All right, we're going to live forever.
But what he forgets by exercising, he might be onto something here, but by me exercising, I'm dropping my resting heart rate. So I might be, my heart rate might be going at 180 for, I don't know, 10 minutes a day or something. But my resting heart rate might be sitting at 40 if I'm an elite
You need to do the
athlete.
maths for him. If he's going to make this turnaround this late in his life, you need to do the maths for him. You need to figure out if he can benefit from this in the short to medium to long term. Is he going to live for another 10 years? Is he going to be dead within 5? We don't know. But this is good work you're doing. And I do take your point that getting a lower resting heart rate, even if that was the logic, even if we are born with a certain amount of heartbeats, that's good. That is smart. I like that. What I will say is that it's a bit like the snipers in Buckingham Palace all over again, because obviously there's a tipping point where too much exercise and not enough just letting the resting heart rate be there. If you're constantly looking for more and more gains on your resting heartbeat, then all of a sudden you've used them all up being so active. So eat a Big Mac, have a Coke float. I don't know what they are. And I think I would call them a spider. Have a spider, a Coke spider. Is that what it's called? Is that Coke and ice cream?
Yeah.
Have one of them, chill out, relax, we're going to live forever.
You're a bit of a security expert tonight as well.
A security expert?
Yeah. You seem to know how to lock down the area, how many snipers are required.
I think I could do a lot of roles in the campaign.
Yeah.
I don't want to just do security though.
And you're full bottle on health as well. I feel like these are quite nuanced areas that we're dealing with.
I am planning a presidential run at some point. Yeah. Look, I would love to be a speechwriter. I'll be a speechwriter for Joe Biden.
Oh, I'd love to
I'll
be
Joe Biden's speechwriter.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you my clap back from the debate that he should have said.
Yeah.
All right. So when I watched the debate, I was as furious as most people watching that debate who watched it. I mean, if you watched any of the analysis afterwards, you may have had a laugh at some of the more colorful things that were said, but actually watching an hour of that was painful. But I did it anyway. I persisted. And there's this bit where we talked about it. Donald Trump talks about golf. He says, when people play with me, they say, wow, how is he so good? How is he so good? He was essentially just bigging himself up about how good he is at golf, right? And Joe Biden comes back with, when I was vice president, I got my handicap to a 6. Okay, we talked about that. He should have just said, I care about golf. I care about the American people. I care about you and you and you. I care about how we move forward as a country, unifying each other, making sure that everyone who needs to be taken care of is taken care of. Golf is about 6 billion on my list, because I care about way more important shit and I have a very important job to do. If he said that, he almost wins the race. If he said that.
Yeah.
Just shut him down. Stop talking about yourself and how great you are. Shut the fuck up and let's talk about Americans who need help and talk to your people. No one cares about golf. I promise you. People who tune into these debates, we don't care about golf.
Maybe Trump did it intentionally to bait Biden into some kind of golf dick swinging competition.
And so sure am I that this is a good move, meaning as a speechwriter, if I was a speechwriter, so sure am I that this is a good play saying I don't care about golf. I guarantee you that the next time, write this down, the next time Donald Trump mentions golf at a debate, Donald Trump's going to get clapped with that line. I promise. Because people have thought about this shit. People are talking to Joe Biden going, you need to say this. You need to not say these words. Try to get his name right. Try to get her name right. She is a woman. He is a man. There was some pretty damning footage of Obama like leading Joe Biden off the stage recently, like an old man in an old person's home. Like,
I saw one.
He was just standing there like this or frozen, and Obama just grabs his arm and leads him off. It's really sad.
Yeah. I saw one happening. And Biden's at the lectern and he finishes up with his speech and he turns to shake someone's hand. And he puts his hand out and no one's there. And he just has to put his hand down and walk off the stage.
Yeah, or there's the other one where he shakes hands with a person, shakes hand with their wife or another person, and then goes to shake hands with the person he's already shook their hand, and they're like confused. Why are you shaking my hand again? But this was years ago. Anyway, the point is that I'm so sure that that's a good line about I don't care about golf. I care about the American people. I care about health. I care about education. I care about the future. Golf is not on my list. I guarantee you that gets said in the race. And I have given myself a fair amount of leeway because it's July and the election's in November, but they are waiting. The Democrats are waiting for Donald Trump to say the word golf and they're going to clap him.
But Trump's playing 4D chess. He probably has some comeback. He's like waiting for it to happen. Then he'll be like, mate, I play golf and I look after the people or something. He'll just one up him again and again. And he's so like fluid with his ability just to roll with the punches. I don't know how he does it.
And another good CTE Tito quote is he goes, I'm playing checkers while they're playing chess. I'm playing checkers, they're playing chess. And he says it like 10 times. And this one time he goes, I'm playing checkers and they're playing chess. He says it right once and then corrects himself and changes it back to chess. Just for those playing at home, it's just chess. You're doing too much work. Do less, everybody. Just do less.
There's a thing called a Paraprosdokian. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh, you got one. They've got those now.
It's a figure in speech in which the latter part of a sentence, phrase, or larger discourse is surprising or unexpected in a way that causes. Hold on, I have to click on it to read the rest of it. In a way that causes the reader or listener to refrain or reinterpret the first part. It's frequently used for humor or dramatic effect, sometimes producing an anticlimax. Great. You made me think about it a couple of times. That he's playing checkers, I'm playing chess. For example, I know he's misspeaking, but actually it gets you. Like it may be intentional. If he meant
something else.
Yeah, I do it quite a lot with sayings. I just fuck the last word. I say a different word.
I do it all the time. I usually just put dick instead of whatever it is.
Yeah.
So instead of hold the phone, I'll say hold the dick or whatever it is, But what is that word? Say that word again for me.
Paraprosdokian. Paraprosdokian.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. I want some examples of these. I'm going to get ChatGPT to rip me up some.
Okay, here's some examples on Wikipedia.
Please.
Well, it says, take my wife, please.
That's good. Well, take my wife take my wife, for example. She's a blah, blah. So when people say take my wife, they're not saying take my wife. They're saying take my wife. It's a figure of speech to say, I'm using the example of my wife. Except the way that you would rethink that, if they are thinking of it from a very obvious point of view, is it's take my wife, please. Right? He's not saying take my wife. He's saying please. He really wants it. So the reason why you would rethink it is you're like, why is this guy so keen to give me his wife?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's either one of those could be it. Have you got any other examples?
Yeah, no, I do. Hold on, I've got it. Okay. If there's a will, I want to be in it.
I like that.
Don't argue with an idiot. He'll drag you down to his level and then beat you with experience.
That's really good. But that's just cool. That's just clever. I asked God for a bike, but I know God doesn't work that way. so I stole a bike and asked for forgiveness.
Nice.
I like that one.
The last thing I want to do is hurt you, but it's still on my list.
You know what these are? My dad's going to love this. They're Groucho Marxisms. Madam, I never forget in face, but in your case, I'd be glad to make an exception. Madam, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, but that's not saying much for me. Here's another good one. This is a Groucho Marx that came up in the chat GPT. It says, I've had a perfectly wonderful evening, but this wasn't it. That's really good. That's really clever.
To steal ideas from one person is plagiarism. To steal them from many is research.
Oh, I like it. Here's a Churchill. You can always count on Americans to do the right thing after they've tried everything else. Oh, this is a classic. This is an old favorite. I used to be indecisive, but now I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like this, there's a fine line between cuddling and holding someone down so they don't get away.
On the other hand, you have different fingers, and I'm writing a book. I've got the page numbers done.
Nostalgia isn't what it used to be.
That's one of my dad's all-time favorites. It's one of my dad's all-time favorites. I haven't slept for 10 days because that would be too long. Jeez. They're just dad jokes now, aren't they?
They are a little bit. When tempted to fight fire with fire, remember that the fire department usually uses water.
Ah, very good. Hospitality is making your guests feel like they're at home, even if you wish they were. Wow, these are great. Oh, money can't buy happiness, but it sure makes misery easier to live with. Thanks, ChatGPT. That was great. Good thieving. Good thieving. Some good, honest thieving.
So what else is going on?
We did Trump. We did Simo. I think that's pretty much the news of the week. I don't think anything else happened. Oh, there was something that happened. Oh,
I've got something. You want to go first?
No, you go.
Sort of in a similar vibe or vein in that KCIII's coming to Perth.
Is he?
Sorry. He's coming to Australia. I don't know if he's coming to Perth.
KCIII.
And Camilla. Yeah.
Yep. Is it his first trip as king to Australia?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Will it be the only king trip in Australia? I don't think the Queen was coming all that often. But they do come relatively shortly after they get inaugurated. Like, what's the word? When they get coronated?
Coronated, yeah.
After the coronation, they usually pop in and say g'day to their realms.
The article said that the Queen's been here 16 times during her queenship, which is quite a lot. But, I mean, she was queen for a very long time as well.
The longest time, yeah. I don't think her son's going to have as many trips to Australia just based off time.
So the last time...
And it's a long way to go.
It is. And he's just had the cancer diagnosis, but, well, when I say just had, a while ago now.
A while ago now, yeah.
I think he was going to come over here, and then cancer got in the way. So last time a reigning monarch visited Australia was that CHOGM, being the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Perth in 2011.
That's her last one?
That was her last one. And it got me thinking about what actually happened there. I think we've touched on it before.
Okay.
Because this is, I don't think you even believed me when I told you that that's when they had that male precedence over females in royal succession. So the firstborn man gets the gig. And then if there's no man, then only then does it go to a woman. And that was only removed in 2011 at the CHOGM meeting in Perth. Which is at CHOGM. And it made me think, what else did they get rid of at CHOGM 2011?
So what else was on the agenda is what you were saying? What got done?
What got done? Lots of things are on the agenda, but they don't agree on much.
No, not a lot of agreements in the realms. You would have thought the Queen just rolls up, throws her sword around a bit. I mean, I've been watching too much Game of Thrones, but like throws her sword around a bit and just goes, yo, like we're changing this one and get on board. Otherwise, off with your head. I don't know.
I don't think they yield any power though. And like India was apparently really upset, really butthurt because we weren't selling them uranium. So they didn't even turn up.
Well, they probably need it for their reactors, right? Have they got some nuke power going on in India?
Oh, they got nuke power, but they're also worried about them as a nuclear, the nuclear war with Pakistan that we were talking about last week. I think that's why we're not selling them uranium.
Sure.
They haven't signed up to the nuclear non-proliferation treaty, so we're like, mate, you don't sign up to that, you don't get any uranium. Yeah, which is fair enough. In some,
that is fair.
I can see it seems logical.
We can't have our uranium going into nuclear weapons.
Yeah,
that's not what it's for. Yeah.
So yeah, three things they did is they replaced male preference primogeniture, under which males take precedence over females in royal succession, with absolute primogeniture, which is not distinguished between success. Yep.
So not best man for the job, just oldest. I think this is how they determine president of the United States. Oldest bloke, usually. Yeah. Okay, good.
Then they ended disqualification of any person who had married a Catholic.
Ah, yes,
now,
they removed
this got me thinking. So
yes.
When they say ended disqualification,
yes,
is this from being
king or queen?
From being king.
Yeah.
So if you married a Catholic,
yep, you're out.
You're out.
You're out.
I mean,
have a think. Why would that possibly be the case?
Well,
have a think.
The Church of England and the Roman Catholic split.
There you go.
But I mean, you're talking about the majority of the majority of Christianity, aren't you?
Now you are, but when the law was invented, we're probably talking about they probably represented very little.
Yeah, I mean, you're excluding a lot of people.
And think about this from perspective. When the Church of England was established, you were in it. In that if you were a subject of the crown, you were likely part of the Church of England, right? So you've got all the people on your side who are on your side. They're already Church of England boys. So who cares what the Roman Catholics are doing is essentially the vibe I would be getting. Well, that's what I'm getting from this old rule or law that you're talking about. That's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like you can't even...
There was probably a reason to do with maybe they didn't trust the sort of power structures in the Roman Catholic Church to think that they were trying to maybe infiltrate the monarchy to establish Roman Catholicism as the primary religion of England or some shit. Like that could be how old and weird the law gets.
I think you're right.
I'm just speculating.
I think you're right.
Just speculating.
So they did that. So they ended that disqualification. But then the ban on non-Protestants becoming monarch and the requirement for them to be in communion with the Church of England was not altered.
Oh.
Okay, so the ban on non-Protestants becoming monarch. So you have to be a Protestant. Why doesn't it just say you have to be a Protestant?
I think they want to use language like this so that most people don't even know what the fuck it means. I think that's the idea behind a lot of that language. It's so when you read it, you go, ugh, who cares?
And you have to be in communion with the Church of England. What does that mean?
I think that would mean some sort of like ceremony or ritual has to take place to say that you're in with the Church of England and you're cool. Again, it's probably just an old thing to do with religious ties. Probably makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, yeah, no, that's fine. Fuck it off. But they didn't fuck it off. They kept that.
They kept that. Yeah. So then
now, what I was thinking is, did the Queen feel like maybe if, Philip died or something, right? Did she want to marry a Catholic? So she's like, CHOGM 2011, change it so that I can marry a Catholic, please. And Phil's going, why on earth would you want that law changed? Meanwhile, there's this hot piece of ass Catholic dude back at home that the Queen's had her eye on for ages. She's just waiting for Phil to fall off the perch so she can nab this sweet Catholic dude that she's had her eye on but hasn't been able to, show her love for because of this weird archaic law that one of her distant ancestors invented because they were scared of the Roman Catholic Church infiltrating the monarchy. So she's in love with this guy. She wants to be with him.
So King George, I'm trying to think of a royal that's in line to be on the throne and is not married. And how old's King George? Like 6 or something?
Oh, maybe.
Whatever, right? He's not married. So if King George, he can marry a Catholic.
Correct. Now, thanks to his grandmother.
And so if you're a Catholic, you can't be a Protestant. You can't be both,
his great-grandmother. No, his great-grandmother.
And being a Catholic and a Protestant are mutually exclusive?
Yes.
You can't be a Catholic and a Protestant.
They're
Well,
all
I don't know.
Christians. They're
Yeah,
all Christians,
yeah.
but they're not all. Yes,
You
it's
can't
kind of
be
like
both.
a square and
You can't
a
be
square and a
both.
rectangle.
Yeah.
Like a Catholic can be a Christian, but a Christian is not necessarily a Catholic.
Okay, so he can marry a Catholic. So let's call her Mrs. Catholic. That's fine. Okay, now the ban on non-Protestants becoming monarch.
Well, you can forget about that because he's got to be a Protestant. He's got to be.
No, he's a Protestant. So
Has to.
King George is a Protestant. That's fine, right? Now, if he died, oh well, then she's just Miss Widow, she's Catholic Widow,
ex-King Consort.
She's nothing.
Ex-Queen
I thought
consort.
she became queen or something.
No,
I thought
you clearly have not read very far
off.
down the line of succession, have you?
She's out. Well,
where it gets kind of tricky is if there are no.
She's not. Yeah. Okay,
where it gets tricky is if there are no obvious heirs, in which case sometimes they'll have a council and decide upon a new king, and essentially establish a new family line.
Yeah, but they probably travel in separate buses and stuff, or not even on public transport. Maybe.
Oh, you wouldn't have thought so.
So then the last thing they did, right, is they established that only the 6 people closest to the throne require the monarch's permission to marry.
Say that again.
Only the 6 people closest, the 6 next in line to be on the throne.
Yeah.
Require the monarch's permission to marry. So in this case, it would be.
Oh, okay.
Who we got here? We got the,
Do you know
the 2 boys.
Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny? I think I know who number 7 is.
Is it?
I think it's Prince Andrew.
Yeah, I was about to say. I
think it's Prince Andrew is in line of succession at number 7.
They'll probably be like, fuck, we better.
Yep. So it goes. KCIII.
And
William,
remember, this was when Queen Elizabeth was
QE2.
alive. Yeah.
Okay, so it would have been KCIII, William, Prince George, Prince Charlotte, Princess Charlotte.
No,
Prince Louis.
but wait, because you're going direct line back. Wait, yeah, no, you're right.
I'm still right.
I'm trying to think
how Prince
you
Louis
can get
will give consent.
6 is a lot.
It says 6 people closest to the throne. That could just mean advisors. That could just mean advisors, people around. The 6 most trusted people to the throne. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Number 5 is Harry. Number 6 is Harry's son. Number 7 is Harry's daughter. Number 8, Prince Andrew, Duke of York. So,
wait, did you say Harry was 6?
Harry was 5.
5, okay.
And if you go all the way back, it's King George V, and then it keeps going.
See, under the Royal Marriages Act 1772, almost every descendant of King George II needed the Queen's permission to marry, which by 2011 was thousands of people. Because every descendant needed the Queen's permission to marry. That's weird, isn't it? Can you imagine meeting someone and they're just like, way removed, and they're like, mate, sorry, because of the Royal Marriages Act, we need to get the permission of the Queen of England
if we can get married, because they just want to know if you're not you're Catholic, right? Are you Catholic? Yeah, I'm Catholic. Great, because in 2011 there was this thing called CHOGM. Anyway, I don't want to bore you with the details, but they changed the laws so we can get married. Hey, by the way, I'm a Catholic, but I'm not a practicing Roman Catholic. Could I have married into the royal family? Like, I'm not religious. I was born
after
into
CHOGM.
After CHOGS, after 2011. Do I have to renounce my Catholicism? Are they going to let someone secular into the royal family?
Oh, you better talk to the Queen. I think you have to talk
to the Queen. Well, I can't. She's dead. I've talked to KCIII. I'll have a chat to him.
So, whilst the Royal Marriages Act 1772 was in force, marrying without permission made the marriage void.
Oh, wow. Imagine that. You get a letter from the Queen. You're like, hey, saw photos from the wedding. Here's the annulment that I've made. Did you get the Queen's permission? Maybe you should have asked her, just in case you're one of those people, those thousands of people who are in that. Your marriage could be... Dude,
could be void.
It could be.
Holy shit.
No, but it's after 2011. So did they remove that?
No, I think it's only after. I don't know. I think it's after that day. I don't think it operates retrospectively. You could get retrospective approval. You can get married, seek the permission of the Queen, and she can approve it. Mm-hmm. I think you're all good. I think from what I just read before. But apparently you're excluded from the throne. So if there was thousands and thousands of death and you got the coal up because you were closest, I think you had sort of lost your spot.
We just need another CHOGM. Just need another CHOGM.
Well, there's another CHOGM coming up. So the reason why King Charles and Queen Camilla are coming to Australia is they have a CHOGM meeting in Samoa in October. What's on the CHOGM Samoa agenda?
Are they looking at any other marriage rules? Okay, but you started on this path because you were wondering if they actually do anything, right? Do they do stuff? Is there sports stuff involved in this? Is there culture exchanges? Is there anything going on with CHOGM except for we would like to change the rules around who is eligible for the throne of England?
There's a homepage. There's a CHOGM Samoa 2024 homepage.
Great.
I don't know if they have like their agenda or anything up there.
What about if we just get ChatGPT to spit out some of the achievements of CHOGM?
Well, here we go. The theme for the meeting is, quote,
marriage.
One resilient common future, transforming our common wealth.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's a pretty
2 words,
little,
commonwealth.
Yeah, that's really nice.
With an aim to strengthen resilient democratic institutions, upholding human rights, democracy, and the rule of law, as well as combating climate change. They're trying to do a lot, aren't they? In particular, its impact on small states and island states.
Overall, CHOGM serves as a forum for member states to collaborate on common challenges and opportunities, promoting shared values and fostering cooperation across diverse areas of interest. Some of these are promotion of democracy and good governance. That's number 1, by the way, number 1. Number 2, development and economic cooperation, a bit of shaking hands. Human rights and equality, we can all get on board with that. Environmental sustainability, love it. Cultural exchange and education, this is what I was wondering earlier. Peace and security, health initiatives, youth engagement. Not one mention of changing weird laws that the royals had. Nothing. Not one mention of that, dude. Not one mention.
Doesn't surprise me. Hey, we're talking about different versions of the Bible, right?
I love it.
I was thinking we need a Zack Snyder cut of the Bible.
Oh, I love that. I think that'd be great.
I knew you would. I knew you would.
I would love to write the Bible with you.
With
if
me?
we can just do it. Yeah. We'll just translate every line. We'll just go, we'll say a line and then we'll be like, what do you think?
Do you know I've been trying to read it for about 3 years?
I know, but I read the easy one, man. So I've got a pretty good idea of how.
So you think we're just going to not just read it, we're going to write a new one?
No, we're going to translate the King James Bible. We're going to do our own independent translation.
We can translate. Well, let's just do one.
Genesis.
Not even Genesis. Genesis is too big.
Nah, we'll do
Genesis
Exodus.
is massive,
We'll do
massive.
Genesis up to the Exodus.
I want to do it. I want to do it. But just
like
give me an example. Like, give me just one real quick example of what you would do. Just okay. Look,
easy. Dude, I promise you, I'm going to smash.
I just want to get the style of it. Okay.
I know. I'm going to simplify it though.
Okay, so I'm just going to chapter 3 of Genesis. Okay, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made, and he said unto the woman, Ye hath God said, Ye shall not eat every tree of the garden. Okay, so the cunning snake spoke to Eve, saying, didn't God say you could eat any plant in the garden? This is all your shit. These are words that I understand, that you understand. I know that's what they're saying. Yeah, but you're going to give it your own inflection.
I am. That's the whole point. If you wanted a 2,000-year-old version of this, you've got it already. It's in your hands.
It will actually still be really boring and shit to read because that's one of 24.
Nah, because sometimes like entire verses would just go, they left. They'd have this big long sentence about, and so he picked up all his things and leapt up onto the pavement. Like, who gives a shit? They left. Give me the meat and bones. What
I can
happened?
see you can meat and bones this one. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
I'm impressed that they figured out sewing before apron. Like they figured out sewing before the concept of the apron. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. There's a bit of preamble before that because they ate from the tree of life and they actually knew good from evil, which apparently means knowing of your nakedness as part of that. And they were embarrassed. And when God came down and saw that they were covering up with their neatly sewn aprons, he was pretty angry. And Ricky Gervais has he comes down and goes, What's with all the clothes? I was looking at them.
Well, what I find interesting is actually I picked the line after the critical line of the Bible in some respects. And this is what you were just saying. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. What I find interesting, that's obviously them eating the apple. That's crazy. What's interesting is, in some ways, if you want to look at this through a misogynistic lens,
which I do,
it was the woman who saw the tree and made the decision to eat it and misled, some would say, Adam. This was all caused by a woman.
Correct. That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. If you're going to look at this through these are representatives of the two genders here. This is all there is.
I think it was their best guess at why women, even in a godful world where there's gods, where there are good gods who actually care about you and love you, and all you got to do is love them back, that they have to try and explain childbirth pain somehow. They got to be like, yeah, I know it's the most painful thing in the world, but you deserve it because fucking in the Garden of Eden, it was you who gave the Adam the apple. It's your fault. So like, that's why you've got that. That's why you can marry the two together where you're like, we live in a world where God's real and childbirth pain exists. So how do we reconcile this? Well, you must have fucked up.
Also, in their defense though, now that first line that I read to you before, the serpent was only talking to Eve. The serpent targeted Eve.
Correct.
So, I mean, what chance did she have? She's getting led on by the forces of evil.
I don't think she stood much of a chance, poor Eve.
I know.
Because Adam was made in God's image, okay? He was created in God's image, right? It's a bit more misogyny for you because God is man and man is God. But here's the thing. He built Eve from one of his ribs. So she's not even in the make of God now. She's not built in the image of God. She's built in the innards of Adam's ribs. So, yeah. But
he actually took one of Adam's ribs from him.
Yeah. He took Adam's rib and made Eve. But
I thought you said one of God's ribs. And I was like, God has ribs now.
No, Adam's ribs. He put him to sleep and took his rib out and made a wife for him and was like, you can have this one. So I don't think she had much of a chance because, look, Adam was made in God's image, and obviously God's image is tainted by the fact that they're still curious, fallible, weird beings, old humans, and not only the fact that I'm not going to do it now, but I'm not going to delve into.
You called them old humans, and they're the first two.
I'm not going to delve into the omnipotent argument again, because if he dropped him into the Garden of Eden, he kind of knew before he did it that the serpent was going to come along, have a chat to Eve, and get her to eat the apple and get him to eat the apple, and then God has to come down and kick him out. So I get that doesn't work with that, the omnipotence idea, the idea that God knew the whole time what was going to happen. However, what's the snake doing in the Garden of Eden? Like, God has power over this, right? Just get rid of the snake. Or before you leave, another Ricky Gervais joke, he goes, oh, and by the way, if a snake comes around here telling you to eat the tree, he's a lying little shit, right? At least tell him. What you put these first humans in the Garden of Eden, and you figured they would just discern that a talking snake was going to deceive them?
There's a few holes, isn't there?
How would they even know what deception is? They don't know good from evil. They would not even know what deception is. So of course they're fooled by it. You idiot, you should have made them smarter, but they had to do it themselves by eating the knowledge apple. He really boned this up. And then it doesn't matter because page 6, he's murdering the whole planet again anyway, isn't he? It's page 6, he's starting again, isn't he?
Wiping the slate clean, yeah.
And then he's going to do it again. So it's pretty wild. We've still got another one to come.
I was thinking about determinism again, actually, after the Trump incident, after Trump got the ear tickler.
Yep.
I was thinking if there was some kind of creator God that could see into the future, in that if everything's deterministic and he's all powerful, he'll know everything that happens. I wonder if the ex-president, perhaps future leader of the free world, if he saw the ear tickle and thought that it was a blip on the radar, which it certainly is in some respects. I know it was big news on Sunday. Yep. I wonder if that featured. I wonder if he thought, oh, geez, this one, that's close. That's a close moment.
Yeah.
A couple of centimeters away from
what do you think he cares about Trump?
Yeah, or it's almost
that reminds me, man, the Copa America was on this morning, the big final for the soccer, and a guy's about to come on, right? I was in an area where there was about 1,000 very excited Colombian and Argentinian fans getting very excited about the game. And there's a guy who's sitting on the interchange ready to come off, and he's got his hands up like this for the Lord because he's very religious, but he loves soccer. This is the makeup of South America. Love God, love soccer, right? And the crowd are loving it. They're like, yes, he's going out there. They lost, by the way. Yes, he's going out there. Wrong God, maybe. Yes, all that sort of stuff. It always surprised me when two Brazilians fought each other and they're both referencing that God is here with them and then they're going to destroy with the power of God. And they're both like, which one's going to win today? But there was a reason I brought that up, but it doesn't matter. It's gone.
But the way you justify it is if you lose, it's God teaching you a lesson that you don't need that to be successful.
Happy.
You don't need that. Yeah, it's all.
You win either way, don't you, with God's plan?
You can sort of justify everything that happens.
Not everything, because some people have lost faith on various things.
Job in the Bible. Got to keep the faith, man.
I was going to use sort of more contemporary examples, like someone who loses a child or something like horrific. They're like, yeah, what's the bit that's going to make this worth it for your plan? Like, how does this fit in? How does my misery fit in with your plan?
Yeah, now you can go on
sell
holidays.
Lots of books. Yeah.
Now you don't have to go on holidays during school holidays.
Yeah, you don't have to make you make one less lunch now. Think about the positives.
You can take the cheap flights to Bali.
Yeah. It's a bit easier to find a babysitter. Anyway, terrible. Love that.
Why would you need a babysitter?
Well, you've probably got one. You've got another kid.
Oh,
one less lunch. A little bit easier to get a babysitter. It's just one kid. It's not two. It's just one. Sort of
and thing. You can put more time into that one child, and they might become the next Pele or something, the next soccer hero.
And here's something I want to say.
And they'll inspire others. It's all meant to be. And then those
people...
It's meant
to be. God's plan.
Mate,
we're back.
Mate, come on.
So I've got a theory on your idea of omnipotence, which is the creator God being aware of, and essentially I'm summing up what you said, but the creator God being aware of what I'm going to call step 1 in the kinetic process of determinism. Meaning, press the start button. Make the first movement, right?
Yeah.
He's aware of that movement, and from that movement, everything can be extrapolated from there. You with me?
Yep.
We're going to backwards engineer that shit. We're going to figure out the first connecting point. Once we do, you could replay this conversation. You could play a conversation 5 years in the future with a powerful enough computer that can project where all these dots end up.
The problem is you can't, you don't know where those first two, that first collision is.
No, we'll reverse engineer it. We're going to take everything that's there and go backwards.
Yes, you take the speed and the position of every molecule, every atom
and electrical synapse in your, like everything in your brain as well.
In the universe. And
everyone's brain.
Yeah. Because they're all atoms
important.
and forces and things. It's all,
just as important as any
so
other
you take
piece
all
of
that,
energy and
you
mass.
put it into a really strong computer.
Yep.
Yeah. And it will
And then you
backwards
get to
engineer.
print out a
It'll go
number.
backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes, here's, and you point to page 68 and you're like, there's the Donald Trump ear miss. Right there.
As you go on your way, as you're going backwards. Yeah.
And if we did work that out, and if the computer's powerful enough, essentially you have a time machine to the future. You just input a star date and you'd be like, tell me what's going on. That's
apparently
determinism,
AI,
baby.
I haven't read the article, but AI has determined what evolution looks like in 500 million years or something like that. Like it's come up with what it thinks is the solution. I don't know what it is.
It's probably a bunch of fucking horse shit. But it's better. It's as good a guess as any, right? Good as guess as any. I do apologize for my extreme verbal diarrhea this evening.
Never.
It's been happening. It's been
never.
Happening.
Don't do
but
it.
It's been an exciting week. I've had a lot to sort of look at this week, and it was good to hash it out with you. I think I got about 80% of what I needed to on those subjects out, and I think that's about what we come to expect.
We'll get back into it next week.
We will, yeah.
So this, very quickly, a groundbreaking AI model called ESM3 has been developed that can simulate an astonishing 500 years of evolution. Key conclusion: ESM3 is a pioneering generative model for biology capable of collaborative reasoning based on 3 fundamental biological properties of proteins: sequence, structure, and function. The 3 data modalities are represented as discrete token tracks at the input and output of the ESM3. You can present the model. What's it look like? What do we look like?
You said something like "in conclusion" earlier.
That's what it says.
I know. There was no conclusion.
Key conclusions. There was no conclusion in that. Next week.
Oh, cliffhanger. Yeah, I like it. We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. Drop a comment. Let us know what's going on.